Welcome to the Real Retirees of New Jersey, powered by Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisors. Randy and Peggy Fisher want to help you retire once and retire right. Get more information at therealretireesofnewjersey.com. They never throw the first punch, but they're always a knockout.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. But most importantly, thanks for listening. This is the Real Retirees of New Jersey podcast with Peggy and Randy Fisher. It's all powered by Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisors. You can get more when you visit therealretireesofnewjersey.com. You can find that and all the information here in the show notes. My name is Mark Owens. Now, let's get to the show. Peggy, Randy, statistic. Want to get your take on this from you guys. First and foremost, how are y'all doing?
Doing good.
Good. Only 27% of adults from this survey, only 27% of adults use a financial advisor.
Wow.
When you hear that number, yeah, wow. How do you react? That feels dramatically low. And for those that don't make the call or don't use one, what do you think the misconception is?
Well, it's funny because
Seems foolish.
In reading that article, it said men are more likely to use financial advisors than women. Mm-hmm. And with 32%, and with 32% of men and 22% of women doing so. And then they said this, which I thought this was pretty interesting too. Education played a big role in this. Only 19% of those who attended college but do not have a degree work with a financial advisor. Isn't that interesting?
They're smarter than the people who did.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly.
Right?
I find it sad because as we were just talking in our last show,
I find it wonderful. It gives us an opportunity.
No,
There's
but I'm saying
83% of the people that are out there
yes, point being
that need an advisor.
People should have an advisor. That's my point, Randy.
Or 73
exactly.
people, whatever.
Yeah, that you should have an advisor. I mean,
Randy, I was doing that math too. I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, listen, that's what I make calculators.
Yeah. But I also think we talked in our last show. I think that goes about trust.
Yeah.
You know what? They put financial advisors and like car salesmen in the same
Listen, 100% of people,
genre.
We talk about this every week, Mark. You're chompers, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
100% of people that need dental work go to where?
To the dentist. Right.
Today, almost nobody works on their car because it's a big, giant computer, right? And those that do it because they like it, right? Again, if you wanted to find out if you have colon cancer, you're not sticking a garden hose and a camera up your ass.
Right.
You're going to the doctor, right? So it's the same thing.
If you want someone who's going to give you expertise on some finances, get a financial planner.
Let's be honest,
not Google.
Not Google. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
If I want to find out if I have colon cancer, I'm not going to WebMD.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You gotta understand. There's bigger, better tools that are out there other than trying to do stuff yourself.
Yeah, okay, but you just said something. You said they lump us in the category of used car salesmen.
Yes.
Why is that? Why the negative stigma of your industry?
Because there's a lot of people out there that are just liars.
Yeah, right.
And they're out there because it's the compensation packages.
Exactly.
Which they have.
Well, we always talk about fees.
And they're criminals.
Costs. Right,
really.
Exactly.
They're criminals with certifications. I hate to say it that way. They really are.
But to that point, I feel like we are in such a highly regulated business. I mean, when I go, let's say if I go to get a haircut, right? I don't have to ask the person who's cutting my hair, what's the percentage of money that you're going to get from this haircut? Right. I wish I could, right? But I don't have to. In our highly regulated business, let's say I go to write an annuity, I have to show a form that states what my commission amount will be. I mean,
honestly, I don't even have any issue with that anymore because the fact of the matter is full disclosure is full disclosure.
Right.
But with that said, what the regulation was trying to accomplish is asking in a not so obstructive way, are you doing the right thing for the client?
Yeah.
Right? So are you making this recommendation because you're getting paid?
Right.
Or are you making the recommendation because it's the best interest?
Right.
What are the alternative options for that client within that category of financial tools?
Well, it's funny. In my head,
Right?
I get that. But in my head as a financial planner, I'm always looking out for the best interest.
That's
do you know
because
what I'm
we
saying?
do the right thing.
Exactly. I'm always in my head. I guess that's why when I say
But unfortunately, there are a lot of advisors that are out there that are one-trick ponies.
Right.
That they think all reasons for all seasons you should be invested. Because their compensation model is built off of that.
Yeah, you talk about that in workshops all the time.
Or they're insurance salesmen, kind of, in sheep's clothing that are pushing annuities for all reasons and all seasons. Right? Or they're life insurance people that don't have the proper certifications and requirements to sell investments.
Right.
So they make a life insurance policy fit every category.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? So if I walked into a car dealership and I had a family of 6 and they put me in a 2-seat car, they don't care. They sold the car.
Right.
If they're an insurance salesman and they sold an insurance product, 3 years later, they don't care if you canceled it because they're not getting a recapture on their insurance commission, right? That's a sad, sad approach to financial planning.
It is. I feel bad for the people out there. If
you know how many people 20%. Come through our door that we're like, I can't even believe that just happened to you.
Yeah. Right.
Or, oh my gosh, you just got into this 18 months ago.
Right.
You can't get out of it.
Yeah, right.
So now the next thing that they ask us is, well, what would you have done?
Right.
Well, I'm not going to say what I would have done. Let's do this. We can't go backward. Let's figure out how we're going to fix this thing.
Exactly.
How can we actually utilize the piece of equipment in which you have currently, and what can we morph it into in the near future to fit your need better? That's what we do.
Right. And then in talking about this when we were, reviewing this, I also thought too, okay, to the object of going the other side of this is, why would you want a financial advisor, right? And I think one of the biggest things was we are unbiased here, right? And as me and Randy say all the time, we're non-emotional about your money. When a person has such emotion, like, they say, oh, well, I love Facebook, so I'm just going to keep that stock forever because I just love to go onto Facebook every day, right? That's not how we think when we do planning, right? No. In any aspect, whether it's wealth management, whether it's life insurance, whether it's annuities, it doesn't matter what it is. We are unbiased and we give unemotional advice based on those things, which to me is one of the reasons why it's great to have a financial planner, right? Also, too, expertise. Or we do goal setting with our clients. We do planning. Who's going to sit down? I mean, most people don't sit down and have like a notebook full or so many pages full of, this is our plan. This is our plan of action. And we take that plan of action and implement for any change, just as we were talking about on other shows. Let's say someone dies. Let's say, you lose a job. Let's say you don't no longer have health insurance. We will have all of that into our plan. Another great reason why to have a financial, planner. How about a risk manager? Someone like Randy who takes care of the wealth management side. It's nice to have someone who can manage that and not be emotional if the stock market's going up or if the stock market's going down. Someone who could look over your portfolio at all times, right? Let's say you're busy in work and you're doing your thing and something crazy happens in the stock market. Guess what? If you didn't see that or hit that right on the head when it happens, you could lose a lot of money, right? Another great reason why to have a financial planner, someone who is looking over your finances for you.
That number is 908-844-8337. Talking about second opinions, you mentioned that, people come in because they feel like they're just working with somebody who's just, wants a cash grab for them. What are some of the other reasons that people take advantage of your second opinion?
Well, I think also, I was thinking about this too, peace of mind. Yeah. So we always say to our clients, who are potential or our clients who walk in, we are, doctors in a way of like, can I put my head on the pillow at night and rest knowing that I don't have to worry about finances? A lot of people toss and turn all night long thinking, oh my God, what's happening with my money right now? Or, oh, the stock market. Or, oh, I just listened to the news and want to drive my car into a wall because of what's happening, on the airwaves, right? We can also like calm all that down and let the client know or potential client know that all hell isn't about to break loose. I mean, you have to know what you're listening to as well, I'll give you a story. We had well, we still have a client. They're still very happy clients now, but we got them from a workshop years and years ago. And when they first came to us back in 2021, think about that. It's not too far ago, right? Let's just call them Carol and Dave for the hell of it. And it's not you, Carol, if you're listening again. So.
Our number one fan, Carol. Shout
exactly.
out.
Yeah. So Dave was basically an engineer. Carol was a school teacher. They had about 1.1 million or so. And again, their names are saved here. So
yes.
We're not giving away personal information. So they had about $1 million and change saved for savings with no pension. So they were basically using Social Security and just their portfolio for income, right? The current advisor that they were dealing with then, like a lot of other advisors that are out there, talk about this 4% rule, right? Everybody talks about, just take 4% out of your portfolio. It'll be fine. You'll be great. No problems. Well, guess what? In 2022, the market dropped 22%, right? So if they were just withdrawing 4% out of their account, they also lost 22% on top of the 4% that they were withdrawing.
Right.
Well, here's another problem. Carol, she had a mini stroke. The problem there was she needed rehab, medication. There was a whole lot of new expenses that were on their table, right? So an additional $44,000 a year that they were $44,000 a year that they were withdrawing, they needed to withdraw a whole lot more because in health insurance didn't cover all of those things. They were stuck in what we call reverse dollar cost averaging. So when the market goes down and you need to pull money out of it, you do so, but then the units of what you have are diminished. They're gone. Even if the market would have just rebounded 100% the next day, because those units were sold off, Carol and Dave couldn't take care of themselves because of the recuperation would not have happened.
Yeah.
Luckily, what we did is we had a plan B. Plan B was we segmented their assets into different buckets, short-term, mid-term, and long-term, and we created guaranteed income using an annuity to supplement their Social Security. What did that mean? It meant that they didn't have to rely on commission by taking money out of the market when it was up or when it was down, right? That's a big deal. Yeah. We also set aside a number of years in cash and cash equivalent investments, or let's just say tools, that they're not going broke safely, but it's money that's on the side.
And they have liquid.
When it's liquidity that they need and the market dips, that they don't have to take money out of the market, that they can actually access. So it's using the right tool for the job and getting it done. And what we did too there was we were able to actually insure Dave, because God forbid something happens to him, who's going to take care of Carol?
Right.
So we were able to actually duplicate that with a life insurance contract that also has long-term care insurance rider on it. So God forbid something happens to him. And by the way, it also covers a little bit of her in the future. Well, now she actually just crossed the threshold of a couple of years. So God forbid if she needs more care, we could take money out of that policy to also use for her care as well. So again, use the right tools for the job. And it gets back to, are you working with a professional that knows how to navigate all of those avenues?
That's the point.
Right? Are you dealing with just a stock jockey at a brokerage firm?
Right.
Are you dealing with just an insurance salesman at a major insurance company? Now, there's nothing wrong with those people. They all have jobs to do.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is,
they are not
when you're
gonna
looking
know
at a
all those.
specialist that can put it all together, that's a different story.
That's when it makes a difference in your plan. Absolutely.
Hey, I know it's a big part. I think the AI wave is coming. I think in the next 5 years, it's going to have a stronghold on a lot of what we do in our day-to-day activities. In your industry, and we were talking earlier about how many people go to YouTube or go to Google to help put plans together. They think they know everything because they watch a video online. Do you think AI is going to affect what you do moving forward?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's going to replace
I don't think it's going to replace, because my thing is too, we were talking about also having a financial planner. And a lot of people who like to do, like, let's say a Zoom call or whatever the case may be. And again, going back to our trust and establishing a relationship. I feel when people are dealing with their money, that you must have some kind of relationship with somebody who's telling you what to do with your finances, if that's what you're looking for. To have, AI telling you, you ask it a question, it comes back to you. I mean, I just don't see that as a stable way to go for the future as far as financing goes.
Well, I'll give you an AI story. We had somebody came to a workshop a number of months ago, and then they got together with us, and they wanted to know what we would do to fix their portfolio. They're basically do-it-yourselfers, right? So they really wanted to do it themselves, but they were really just seeking information from us to say, hey, what should we buy? What should we sell? Blah, 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 blah. Well, lo and behold, we did learn by looking through their stuff that they are using AI to basically try to formulate a portfolio, which is useless. This week, a couple days ago, we got an email from them again, which we requested their full statement to do an analysis. And for months, they put us off because they thought that they were going to be able to
do it themselves.
Exactly. Next thing I know, we just got their statement and it said, can you please help us?
Yeah.
So I looked it over. And again, this is an amazing thing because the market just really recuperated a lot of losses over this past month. And all you really had to do is basically be in the market to recuperate. These people lost $10,000 this month.
Randy shouted from my room, how the hell do you lose $10,000 like this? And that's a true story.
I'm not kidding you.
And it's funny too, though, because she did put us off for, God, maybe.
But I'm looking through the portfolio changes that happened during the course of it.
And so I'm putting us off. She lost $10,000.
Well, this is the funny part about that was I remember reading an article on one of these things, whether it was MSNBC, CNBC, something like that, about the month of April and May. So there's usually an adage of in May, sell away. So basically sell and go away in May. which a lot of advisors usually do because it's a big dip month. Wall Street usually has a bit of a correction during that period of time for lots of different reasons, but without getting into that. Most professional advisors did do that. So if you think about this, this person is basically influenced by what she's been listening to and hearing and managing her own portfolio based on what we always call the noise.
Yes.
Right? She took emotion and applied it into her own portfolio.
Right.
What did it do for her?
Lost her money.
Lost her money.
Right. So that's why I'm saying AI. I don't think that's going to be, as far as financial way, I don't think that's going to be the way to go.
Use a non-emotional, methodical, mathematical approach to your investment solutions. And if you don't have that and you're just going to invest emotionally, do yourself a favor. Have some fun with it. Go to Atlantic City, bet black or red.
Yeah. But we always talk about that second opinion.
At least get a drink for free.
And we always get to talk about that second opinion. And that's for any do-it-yourselfer. That's for any, potential client. If it's complimentary, we tell everybody that. Come in, show us, you can show us your statements or whatever the case may be. We always talk about the X-ray portfolio that we do for clients, which I absolutely love. I almost guarantee, I would say 99.9%. Once we show them that X-ray portfolio, and that's taking all their statements, putting it into a system.
People don't believe the info.
And they don't. They honestly don't believe what we're telling them.
They're like, that's what you say. No, that has nothing to do with what we say.
Right.
In fact, we didn't even put the report together.
Exactly.
The computer program did.
And once we do that and then show them, we bring them in, show them up on a billboard. Oh, there's no way that I'm getting charged.
It's an independent reporting agency.
Exactly. We're almost guaranteed a client after that because,
Well, just mutual fund fees, right?
Yeah.
We did a workshop just last week, and one of the things I did do is I kind of manipulated some of the slides because a lot of people, they have mutual funds. So let's just go over that. Okay. But most people don't believe
that there's so many
layered of fees that are within the mutual fund.
They were actually arguing with you in the thing.
So when we get when we get together with people, they say, "Oh, my advisor charges me 1%." That's not a false statement, right? So your advisor probably does charge you 1%. But there are also layered fees on top of the 1% that your advisor is charging you that's probably costing you another 1.5 to 2 to 3% on top of what you're already paying, but you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, no, that's not a fact. They have to disclose that. They do disclose it. It's called a prospectus. You get it in the mail or you get it in an electronic format and you erase it or you throw it out. Right. You don't read it, right? So, where are the 12B1 fees? Where is the expense ratios? Where is all the other fees that are associated with that mutual fund that are in there? Most people don't have a clue. Not a clue.
And not for any fault, but no one's really telling them about those little fees either. You know what I mean? And that's what we do here. We are, again, going back to the trust factor, we will tell you every fee that's out there that's going to be charged, whether it's going to be charged or not be charged. And again, talking about myths of annuities and things like that, not every annuity has a fee. We'll talk about
fiduciary best interest, right?
Exactly.
Good, bad, ugly.
Yeah.
Good, better, best, right? So we talk about possibilities of we're going to use this tool.
Right.
Why would we use this tool?
For this
is
reason.
The good thing. This is the bad thing. This is what we can live with. This is what we can't live with.
Yeah. And
that's number one.
Yes.
Number two, let's do the same thing. Number three, let's do the same thing. So now we have three choices. And we all know what the pros and cons are of using that tool for the job. The job is at hand.
Exactly.
Are there better tools to use? Yeah, right? So if I'm eating a salad, I'm picking up a fork. I'm not using a spoon. If I'm using soup or eating soup, I'm using a spoon. I'm not using a fork. If I want to create income, I don't want to use growth funds, right? I don't want to use stocks. I don't want to use mutual funds to that degree. I want to use tools that can create me income, right? Like a Social Security, like a pension plan, right? I want income that's guaranteed. If you're creating income from a brokerage firm or from the market, you're living on commission, right? That's not a tool. Could you do it? Yes, but it's not efficient, right? So if we want to be the most efficient manner to do something, that's the way we're going to do it. If I wanted to go to California from New Jersey, I can get in a car, a train, or a plane. What's the most efficient manner to get there?
I'm taking plane.
I'll go plane, even with all the delays right now, right?
Maybe I won't.
But that's the most efficient way to get there, right? Or, how do I get there? Do I plug it into GPS or do I just wait until the sun goes down and I stop my car and when the sun comes back up, I keep driving west?
Right.
That's, a different way of doing it. So again, ladies and gentlemen, use the right tool for the job.
Yep.
Use the right advisor for what you're looking to get done. If you want just something specific and you want a stock purposed advisor or a mutual fund purpose advisor or an insurance purpose advisor, go seek that out. If you want something that is all encompassing, specialist in the financial planning industry, give our office a call.
And this may be old man Owens coming out on this one. We were talking about AI a couple of minutes ago.
Let me tell
you, back in my day, I just want that face-to-face interaction, because there are some of these videos you see online, the finfluencers, the financial influencers, that are 100% fake. Like, it's completely AI generated.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm old school. I want to look you in the eye. I want to shake your hand. Peggy, I know you're going to give us a hug before we walk away, too.
Yes.
Like, there's still that element of one-on-one planning that I desire.
I do too. And it's all about establishing that relationship. I think that's the most important part when you're worrying about the most important part of your outlook of finances.
The next 30 years of your life. Yeah.
You want to know that person, and I don't want to, like, a lot of people, I want a Zoom call. I don't think you could establish a relationship with that. I feel like I need to.
I hate Zoom.
Yeah, I do too.
But let me ask you this. But with Zoom, okay, once we establish a relationship, we start working together. Like a year down the road from now, there's nothing wrong with a quick check-in via Zoom.
Oh, no,
right?
we'll do calls that way. But I'm saying as an
to start a relationship.
I need to start a relationship with you. Come into our office, because I need to sit across from you.
It's like sending my mother-in-law to Tinder.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I just happened to be taking a sip of water when you said that.
Yeah, we'll spit that out, right? Oh, God.
She can't even use email.
Yeah, but the point being is you have to establish some kind of relationship. And that's for both sides. Do we want to have this person as a client? And does that client want us to be their advisor? Exactly. And I feel like that has to be established with being hands-on, being across from someone, talking together and seeing if it's going to be a good fit. And I think that has to be done
in
person.
Feeling. We talked about that a couple shows ago, I guess, but gut feeling. What does your heart say? What does your brain say?
Well, it's funny that you just talk about that, because we just had a workshop last night, and the lady said to me, and this is starting with the phone call. Like, I call everybody, before they even come to our workshop. I start the relationship right there. I'm not one of those persons just like, hey, I just want to check, make sure you're coming, blah, 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 blah. Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I can't wait, And then when they come into the workshop, it's, hey, how are you? Great to see you. Yes, we spoke on the phone. It's establishing the relationship from the very start. That's how we work here. From the very start, that's how we're going to go.
908-844-8337. I want to go back to also, we got a couple of minutes left here, but I want to go back to, you talked about finding the hidden fees, and we've kind of dissected over the past couple of weeks my oral surgery, my teeth problems. I got to get a whole new set of chompers put in. As we were researching and finding the best loan options, we were looking at a potential credit card to help pay some of this off. And had we not scrolled,
yes,
we would not have found out that buried at the very bottom, the interest rate on a missed payment.
Oh.
Hello.
Take a wild guess.
29.
34.
39.99.
Yeah, I'm closer. Yeah, what lucky.
Almost 40% interest. Had we not done that, because it's very easy just to click accept, I agree. But hold on. Let me see what we're dealing with. We just scroll. And it was down at the very bottom. So,
thank God you looked at that one.
But that's what you do. You look for that when we may miss it.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt about it.
It's all part of that strategy with the team at Artemis Wealth Advisors and Liberty Financial Group. Hey, let's talk about that. We've talked a lot over the past couple of weeks about that initial consultation. Tell me, what is that like when I come in and sit down with you?
So when you come into our office, you'll first see our beautiful fish tank designed by our son, who has his own fish business as well, because we're all entrepreneurs here.
She's always selling.
Yes. And then you come into our office, and it's funny because it was me and Randy talk. We always have clients who will come in here randomly, not just on the first initial consultation with us, but he'll just come and sit down. And we had a client last week who came in. He's like, it is always so cozy here. He sits on our couch, he looks at the fish, and he has a nice cup of espresso coffee. He's like, I love coming in here. But that's what you'll get when you come in here. Would you sit down?
It's flavored creamer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Flavored creamer.
Has to have his flavor.
His little fluff, too, on the little fluffer there. But that's what you'll get here, And I like to just start the conversation, too, not just go right into the finances, but let's hear about your dog, your cat, the grandchildren, your trips, things like that. I had another client who came in to sign a form. That was turned into an hour in my in the office. Surprising. But turned into an hour in the office just talking about, what they were doing in September. They're going to go to, where was that? The Yellowstone.
I wasn't in there because I was actually doing some work.
They're going to Yellowstone and telling me about all the cool places that they're going to stop. That was supposed to be a 5-minute, just quick sign. That it was an hour, but that's what I love. I love to hear about what my clients are doing.
Work.
No, I love to hear about what my clients are doing. That's such a special part of the day. What are you doing? Where are you going? Who are you traveling with? What's going to happen? And that is also, again, about the relationship. I love to have that relationship with our clients.
We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Investment advisor services offered through Artemis Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Artemis Wealth Advisors is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Randolph A. Fisher, insurance license number 9616074, and Liberty Financial Group, LLC, and Peggy Fisher, national license number 189-42003 and 570-5833.